This People's National Party, at this time, because politics goes in cycles, the PNP has never been at a worse place than it is now in terms of its leadership. It is in a bunker. You know, a bunker? As if you're in a war and you're in a bunker underground. That is where the PNP leadership is at. They're in a bunker. They're listening only to themselves. They're not listening to the ground and who I call the sensible middle ground of Jamaican politics. They lost September 3rd, 2025. They lost 2020. They lost 2016. And it's as if they have not been able to pull themselves up to say, what are we doing wrong? This shouldn't be about attacking the messenger. It should be about the issues revealed in those voice notes that have touched a raw nerve in the minds of the Jamaican people and have frankly damaged the political process. Now, as I said previously, they can't voice any legitimate concern about NARA because of the quagmire they have created in how they have responded to the leaked voice notes. Golding made a feeble attempt to distance the party on the basis that an executive member, national executive member, elected councillor, can't speak for the party. Huh? A losing parliamentary candidate? Feeble, weak, poor, feckless leadership. Time for the break.
And so when I told you that Cliff Hughes hammered Mark Golding, you must have thought it was a joke. Or maybe it wasn't so bad. Well, you heard it for yourself. In response to Mark Golding's claim that Mario Mitchell and Ethne Miller Simpson can't speak for the party, Cliff Hughes described Mark Golding's leadership as feeble, weak, poor, and feckless. And we're going to visit that word feckless so you can know exactly what it was that he said about him. And in not pretty. Feckless, it says, mean ineffective, incompetent, or irresponsible. It describes someone who lacks strength of character, organization, or the drive to do things right. And it is commonly used to describe a person who is lazy, weak, or does not care about the results of their choices. It describes a plan, action, or attempt that fails because it is poorly made or weak. And all of that applied to Mark Golding, the generality of his persona and attitude, and the comments he made at the NEC on Sunday. So Cliff Hughes is of the view that Mark Golding's leadership of the People's National Party to date is ineffective, he is incompetent, and irresponsible. How can you have two party members making them kind of statements about if the NARA was passing through the parish council, them could slow it up and make sure that the government don't realize what it is they wanted to realize? A quick implementation of a project that will see to the rebuilding of Black River, rebuilding of infrastructure, and very possibly rebuilding of people's lives who were affected by the Category 5 hurricane. And you have a party member and a another party member in a discussion talking about ways and means, them can stop this program and by extension cause the economy of the country to continue to decline, not to provide jobs for people. And the people of Western Jamaica who were so badly affected by the hurricane now have no shelter. That hypocrite stand up at the press conference talking about she want to talk about Nara and all the people that are suffering and all the people that know on the tarpaulin and all in something there, and him sit down in the group and talk about how him going to sabotage it. So it don't work. So we end up a spend 6.7 billion US dollars and have all of that wasted and have nothing to show for it. That's what he was talking about. And yet, you, who's supposed to be the leader of the party, them boss, the person responsible in part for them to be where they are, can't find it in you to issue not even a single word of rebuke. Huh? So you approve. You distance the People's National Party from it, but you yourself approve of what they were planning. What else can account for your silence on that matter? Them stick you up and put this paper in your hand and say you better read it. And you read it. But what you did not want your side to believe is that what they were doing was wrong. That there's anything wrong with them discussing ways and means to sabotage a government project. If at the end of the day, it going to mean that you're going to be Prime Minister of Jamaica. What else are we supposed to conclude, Mark Golding? Talk and tell us, what other conclusion are we supposed to come to? You say that the party members do not speak on behalf of the People's National Party. Were they speaking on your behalf? Were they discussing this matter at your behest? Is this the reason why you can't rebuke them? You said that discussing and planning ways and means to sabotage a government project is not the policy of the NEC. Was this the reason why this private WhatsApp group was set up? In order to avoid the gaze of those in the NEC and executive committee who would not approve? What was the purpose of the WhatsApp group? Why was it set up? So this is a matter that was being discussed in that group. A group that had in it, according to what you said, that no party officer participated in that discussion. So you had leaders, party officers inside that group, officers. And the officers are the president, you, Mark Golding, the chairman, vice chair, the 4 vice presidents, the general secretary, the 4 deputy secretaries, the legal officer, and the treasurer. And uno make up the leadership, uno make up the officer core of the party. You are the leader of the People's National Party, Prime Minister in waiting. It is vitally important for us to know, Mark Golding, whether you were in that group where they were discussing ways and means to sabotage a government project and sully the reputation of a man, an exemplary public servant. Were you in that group? And notice nobody don't ask that question, but it is a very important question, which means you can go in there yourself and see what the members are discussing. Were you a part of any discussion at all in that group? That's important to us to know. Specially invited persons were put in that group. And the kinds of discussion that we heard was the kinds of discussion that that group was set up to have. A WhatsApp group is never usually started for no good reason. It's never usually started for just people to rap. A WhatsApp group is usually started with a purpose, especially when a political party is involved and its membership. So when that WhatsApp group was set up, it was set up by the person with an object in mind. We don't know what that object is, but based upon the discussion, the 2 pieces of conversation, that very skimpy piece of evidence, it clearly was set up to strategize. What were they strategizing about? We don't know for sure. We would only be guessing. You have to have a group where people can meet because they live in various places, right? It's not like they could travel to party headquarters and sit down and have a discussion. When you have a WhatsApp group, you can talk anytime, night or day, weekend, whenever you have a spare time. And that's the usefulness of a WhatsApp group. So, guys, what do you think about this? Guys, what do you think about that? Did you hear what such and such a person said today? Did you? That is the type of thing. Real time. So the WhatsApp group was not set up for no good reason. It was set up for a reason. It had a purpose in mind. And hopefully, the leaker will leak some more. I expect. And when you think about it, the two small pieces of conversation that we heard, they believe it was sufficient to tell us what these people are planning. Two pieces of conversation. So this person knows what they're doing. Are you following me? So the next time we get something, hopefully soon, it may give us some more clues as to what this WhatsApp group is about. Why was it organized? And why did they have the party officers in it? And the elements of the executive. So we wait.
This morning, I want to begin with a media briefing that was called by the People's National Party yesterday. And in all my years of covering politics and watching politics not only in Jamaica but across the world, there's a rule or a practice that we come to know. And that is, whenever a party, a political party, decides to attack the press, the media, the messenger, that is a very good indication that that political party has lost the argument. It has lost the debate, and it is now resorting to personal attacks. And that is what we learned yesterday from the People's National Party. This issue of the leaked voice notes, where some members of the party were caught on tape betraying what a lot of people suspect was a strategy of the party at this time. And that is to delay, attack, lie, obfuscate, because it has failed to do its job as an alternative government by sitting down, doing the research, doing the studying, doing the consultation on the big issues of the time, and fashioning, producing an alternative policy and political agenda that could catch the imagination of the Jamaican people. The People's National Party under Mark Golding has failed to do that. And it has sought to ride on the back of not only lies, but character assassination, make as much noise and create as much smoke as possible. That is what I've been describing as intellectual laziness, bankruptcy of ideas. And it was on full display yesterday when the Member of Parliament for Southern St. James, Nikisha Burchell, chose to attack a certain media house for reporting a legitimate story. She did not deal with a substantive issue, just like her leader failed to do on Sunday evening. She came on Tuesday. They would have had Sunday evening, the week before, all of Monday, most of Tuesday, to read the room, to read public sentiments, and come prepared. Come prepared to answer, to respond to the substantive political issues raised by the leaked voice notes. And those issues are simply one. The sentiments expressed by Mario Mitchell about delaying tactics was wrong. It was politically dunce. Two, to proceed to pursue a program of character assassination of a leading public servant in Jamaica. You admitted that in your WhatsApp executive group, but you're going to turn that on its head and go after Major General Anderson. Those are the substantive issues. What does that mean for governance? Golding didn't deal with it. Burchell didn't deal with it. She chose to attack a certain media house. This is what happened.
Okay, this is a tangent question, actually. In relation to this call about transparency and accountability, there is the matter of the leaked PNP voice notes. Have the officers of the party identified the individuals in question, and have those individuals faced any level of punishment, disciplinary action, and would you condemn what was suggested on those voice notes by those members, who I believe one was a councillor who suggested that through the local authorities they would essentially obfuscate or try to delay any aspects of NARA that could be of a benefit to the same people who you suggest should get benefits today?
Okay, well, leader of the opposition.
Hold it there for me. If you're watching the actual video on YouTube, I'm going to ask you to pay close attention, not only to what Burchell is saying, but the reactions of the comrades beside and behind her. In particular, look at the non-verbal communication, the facial expressions, reactions of Mrs. Natalie Garvey. Look at Natalie's reactions as if, oh God, what are we doing here? Roll the tape again.
Essentially obfuscate or try to delay any aspects of NARA that could be of a benefit to the same people who you suggest should get benefits today?
Okay, well, the leader of the opposition spoke on this on Sunday. I believe you would have been privy to what he shared. What our internal workings have been is not for the public discussion in terms of how we are speaking with those who are in those conversations. What I think is instructive is that a certain media house decided to publish select voice notes from a chat they had access to, a private chat, and refused to share the other positions that were more in keeping with our stated public position. But we've become accustomed to the media house in question being very deliberate and skewed in how they report. But our position has been...
Now, let's take them one at a time. One, Miss Burchell has accused us of skewing our reporting. Now that is a very serious allegation. And Miss Burchell, no, no. Miss Burchell, you have posited that we have in our possession the full discussion in the WhatsApp group. And we chose to use the two that we have broadcast in an attempt to skew it. That's not true. We do not have any more than what we have published. So now that you have made that accusation, prove it. I challenge you to prove it. Those who accuse must prove it. You, by virtue of what you said yesterday, are aware of the full voice note or the full discussion in your group. Therefore, publish it. Yes, and let the people of Jamaica decide, and you will have to prove to us and to the people of Jamaica that we had more than what you are accusing us of publishing. That is what you should do now. That's what you should have done yesterday. If you are maintaining that list we took Mario Mitchell and Ethne Miller Simpson out of context, then demonstrate. Roll the tape. Play the tape. And show us. Let us hear it. The full context. That would give substance to what you're seeking to achieve. That, oh, that was not the full thing. That was not the full meaning or context. You must now show us. You must now publish it. We publish what we have. And if we had more, we would publish it. Be under no illusion about that. If we had more, we would publish it. So now that you're accusing us of having it, suggesting you have it, then you should publish it. You know? The other thing I would say, you know, this People's National Party, at this time, because politics goes in cycles, the PNP has never been at a worse place than it is now in terms of its leadership. It is in a bunker. You know, a bunker? As if you're in a war and you're in a bunker underground. That is where the PNP leadership is at. They're in a bunker. They're listening only to themselves. They're not listening to the ground and who I call the sensible middle ground of Jamaican politics. They lost September 3rd, 2025. They lost 2020. They lost 2016. And it's as if they have not been able to pull themselves up to say, what are we doing wrong? This shouldn't be about attacking the messenger. It should be about the issues revealed in those voice notes that have touched a raw nerve in the minds of the Jamaican people and have frankly damaged the political process Now, as I said previously, they can't voice any legitimate concern about Nara because of the quagmire they have created in how they have responded to the leaked voice notes. Golding made a feeble attempt to distance the party on the basis that an executive member, national executive member, elected councillor can't speak for the party. Huh? A losing parliamentary candidate? Feeble, weak, poor, feckless leadership. Time for the break.
It is important for us to understand something here. Since Mark Golding assumed leadership of the People's National Party, since 2020, November coming will be 6 long years. In all that time, 6 long years, he has not articulated one single policy prescription for any of the portfolios that he has named. That is the reason why there is nothing for them to talk about. There is no policy prescription for this country, no vision articulated, and it should not be a surprise. This is a man who went throughout his entire life with a British passport that he renewed several times. Himself born in a Jamaica, and yet he never ever applied for a Jamaican passport until 2011 when he was 46. And this was where he was living all this time. Even when he was in the Senate for 4 years, he never sought to apply for a Jamaican passport. He only applied for a Jamaican passport when it was convenient for him to have it. In 2011, because he anticipated he would have become a government minister, and to get a diplomatic passport, you need to have a Jamaican passport. So the Jamaican passport was not a first choice for Mark Golding. It was an instrument of convenience. And so this is not a man who has the Jamaican people at heart. He want power, but he want power for himself, and he know what he want it for. And so it is no surprise whatsoever that in 6 years he cannot articulate a vision for this country. But this WhatsApp group that the latest scandal has emerged from seems to me to promise to bring them down once and for all. Everything, though, depends on the leaker and what it was that they were discussing in that group. Is Mark Golding in that group? And if he is, what has he been saying in that group? That is what we're waiting to hear. And hopefully, we hear it soon. Well, folks, that's it for me today. Let me all thank you very much for joining me. And let me know what you think about all of this, what Cliff Hughes said. Do you agree that him did give Mark Golding some big, big blow? It was mainly Mark Golding he was criticizing and his leadership. Feckless. Hard licks those. So let me know what you think about that and my own views. Let me hear your views as well. And remember also to subscribe if you have not yet done so. Please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share, and until next time, take very good care of yourselves and walk good.